Today I'm going to be sharing about mothering and the mental load it often brings, as well as shaking some of the perspectives the world says about our children and getting things done with them around 24/7. For those who are new here, my name is Amy. I'm a city girl who married a southern country boy who is now a blessed homemaker and wife and mama to four children who run barefoot and free around our little homestead here in Mississippi. I share a new video every week centered around all things home, but I did not grow up in this world of homemaking, gardening and preserving, raising and butchering animals, cooking meals from scratch, nor did I come from a homeschooling family. But I've learned a lot along the way and want to bring y'all along on this continued learning process and the beautiful blessing of a slow and simple life. In this video, I'm going to be going around cleaning up from a demo project in our kitchen. Our very long-awaited kitchen renovations have been happening step by step, little by little. I wish I could say I had a big final kitchen reveal coming soon to show y'all, but we're just not quite there yet. We're working on little projects at a time, so I'll show you what we've been working on. But throughout this video, you're going to see me doing a lot of cleaning up from that demolition as we were getting ready to work on the project. I'll try to show y'all little bits and pieces of the project as we're working on it. But it's been a long time coming. This kitchen was a total gut when we moved here 4 years ago. And well, we still have a few cabinets and countertops left, but the rest of it's pretty much gone. We knocked down walls, we reconfigured the whole kitchen, but it's just been a really long project and we're just working on it as we have the budget to do so, little at a time. I also had a teething baby on my back in the beginning of this video. She was very clingy. She wanted to be held, and at this point she's just a little heavy to hold on my hip and get things done. So we used our woven wrap back carry. This is a ruck carry in a woven wrap. I did not completely have it on the best with her. She was a little hard to get in it. She was a little resistant because she's not used to me wearing her in a carry since she was probably around a year old. She hasn't been in one. So that's what I'm toting around here, and my back was actually pretty sore after this. I know I did not have it on properly because if you're back carrying a toddler the correct way, you should not be sore. So we need to work on that, but she doesn't use the wrap very often. So now let's jump into why it can be so hard to get things done with children around, or why the world tells us it can be so hard. The world tells us that our children create noise, they create distractions, they are a hinder to our daily lives, and instead teaches us to be selfish with our time as mothers, putting them in front of screens, televisions, babysitters, sending them off, instead of being selfless and never taking for granted what little blessings and gifts we have been bestowed upon from the Lord. So personally for me, this is something I've had to learn a lot of in motherhood, but I find it very hard to get things done with my children around because they simply slow me down on tasks. With the many interruptions and questions and me tending to them, their personal needs, the ones that actually need me to do almost everything for them, I have to stop and start many times just on really simple tasks like vacuuming, cooking, doing laundry, sweeping, tidying up and decluttering. I have a type of personality where I really like to finish a job all at once and not let it linger on and on throughout the day or throughout the week. Motherhood has taught me so much about this habit I have and given me the chance to practice so much patience. The question I've started asking myself is, why is getting something done quickly and effectively and efficiently the ultimate goal for me? What if my children slowing me down is exactly what I need to do in this season and exactly what the Lord is trying to teach me? To slow down my rush pace in life and savor every moment I have with them while they are so little. My goal in rushing through a task and not being interrupted 20 times is not my children being a problem. It's my children being children, curious for knowledge, longing for time by their mother, longing to learn from me, to be beside me, and just to love me. Sure, there are times when I tell them to give me a minute or two to finish up a task, but I have really had to let the Lord lead me and not getting angry in these types of situations. My children are not the problem. Could it possibly be that I was the one not showing love back to them? As we are taught how to love in the Bible in 1 Corinthians 13, I may have been the one who was easily angered. I was not slow to speak. I was the one quick to anger. I was the one not showing patience, or I was keeping records of wrong that my children had done throughout the day, just letting that build up and getting more and more easily angered at them. When we become more and more saturated in God's word and let that overflow into our days as a mother, we start to look at our children totally different. Another way the world tells us that children are distracting is through noise. For example, even if they are not talking or asking us questions, they might be doing an activity that comes with noise. I have been guilty of scolding my children before them when they were simply laughing out loud at a game or an activity together, and scolded them because it was distracting to me or making it harder for me to focus. Again, I was the problem here, easily angered, self-seeking to my own needs at that moment. Cue the 1 Corinthians love verses again. Noise pollution is a real thing, and it's honestly something I've had to work on as a mother, and letting some level of noise ensue in my home and being able to work around it and work through it and just learn to love the noise, because noise is a byproduct of life. I would much rather have a noisy home than a quiet home. If you ask any parent who has lost a baby or child, they would love nothing more than to have noise in their home again, because that means there is life in that home. So why don't we start seeing and viewing the noise in this way rather than the burden that it can sometimes bring to ourselves or our productivity that day. Although when it comes to noise, my number one tip is to remove all other noise but my children. So this includes the TV, music, unless it's some sort of music that's helping us to relax, podcasts, videos I may be trying to listen to that are pulling me away from my children and making my children become a distraction instead of a blessing. So only having the noise from my children in the home is much easier to manage without all of the extra noise pollution. And it also actually lets me enjoy and tune into their sweet giggles and the sweet conversations between siblings that I would have otherwise missed out because I was trying to drown them out and focus on something else. Here's a common scenario. I know all of you mamas out here will relate. And I know there are many reels and memes out there telling mamas out there that their children are the problem. So you wake up and either the kids are already awake or they wake up shortly after you and everyone is requesting food, so it's time to get breakfast on the table, and here comes the noise before you barely had time to open your eyes. You may have a couple of kids arguing and maybe you have to step in and redirect. By the way, for arguing children, I highly recommend The Wise Words for Moms by Ginger Hubbard. It's like a $4 purchase on Amazon, and it is totally worth the $4. And I refer to this all the time when redirecting my children and disciplining my children in a biblical manner. So I will link to that down below. It's such a handy tool for moms to sort of redirect kids in a biblical manner. So back to the scenario. Next is time to get breakfast and dishes cleaned up, and maybe there's a spilled glass of milk or a broken glass that needs to be tended to, and you have another fire to go put out, and along the way you're doing parenting, referring to your wise words for moms along the way. You're answering questions your children have or helping them with something, and eventually the whole morning has flown by, and you're starting to feel unproductive, and you know that there are things that you need to get done, but maybe your brain just feels tired, fried, and zoned out at this point. I know we've all been there. But I have found that in moments like this, in days like this, finding a moment of rest is vital to refocus, replan, and sort of write everything down I need to get done. I found that if I don't write things down for the day, I'm never going to remember them when the house gets noisy. My kids are playing well. There's just a little bit of background noise, which I've learned to love, but my brain needs to focus and think about what I need to do for that day. So not having a plan usually leads to a feeling of failure for myself. When I fail to make a plan each day and set goals, I feel like I'm spending the whole day running around racing to put out fires. And then the blame gets shifted to my children for my own lack of planning. In Proverbs 21:5, it says, "The plans of the diligent surely leads to abundance, but everyone who is hasty comes to poverty." So this just reminds me to have a plan for the day, because my children are going to bring the interruptions. They're going to bring the noise. They're going to bring the distractions. But if I can learn to welcome those in the midst of the things I need to get done that day, because I have a plan, I have a list, I am prepared for what I need to do that day as a homemaker, but first and foremost, I am a mother to them, and I can not let their noise, their questions, their needs become distractions or a burden, as we are often told as moms that our children can be. Because, like I said before, our children are not the problem. Most likely, we are the ones that are becoming easily angered, easily distracted with them. So shake any truth you may have previously held about your children that the world portrays to us that children are. The only truth that we actually know is from the Bible. In Psalms 127:3, it says, "Children are a gift from the Lord. They are a reward from Him." When we start to review our children as little gifts, it changes our perspective quite a lot. They all of a sudden don't seem like such a burden, but more of a precious gift that we have been gifted to teach, take care of, to love, and to cherish. So here in the last of this video, my daughter and I are cleaning up the last bits of the oven from the demolition. I had the oven covered during my husband's demo, but inevitably dust flies, particles fly. The oven was still filthy after he demolished our kitchen. So she asked to help me, and I could have easily asked her to go play with one of her siblings or to go find another activity, but welcoming her into this task and letting it take me a little extra time it's so worth it. And it's such a bonding time for mothers and their children to really teach them something, to talk to them about something, talk to them about their day, talk to them about something that you've been learning from the Bible, just a moment to connect. And they really love these kind of moments with their mothers. So now for the demolition, we are working on our kitchen ceiling. So this is before the demolition occurred. We had a sheetrock ceiling that was all uneven from having walls here. We have an exposed beam. So my husband just went into the attic and kicked it through. It was a huge mess. The kids and I watched in the living room, watched the kitchen totally covered in sheetrock dust, mess, debris, particles, insulation particles, a whole big mess. But what we are going to be doing here is recovering it with hung and groove heart pine and staining it so that it's going to be really beautiful. We will still have our Duroc cement board in the background because we are not quite ready to brick, because countertops, cabinets have to come before that. We are patiently waiting for the day our kitchen is finished, but for now I'm enjoying these little progress steps here at a time. Truly being able to learn how I like my kitchen, how I want my kitchen to be, how I want my dream kitchen to look, because it has taken us so much time to get it together. I've really had time to dream it up, plan out the exact perfect kitchen for our family's needs. Thank y'all for watching this video today, and I hope to bring y'all some more updates on this kitchen soon. Hope you have a beautiful day, and I will talk to y'all in my next video.